Indoor air quality, big concern. Indoor environmental quality. Get a lot of calls often from concerned parents with a sibling or their child has allergies, or they've been noticing some symptoms of runny nose, watery eyes, even blood. They're very concerned about the health of their child. I mean, who wouldn't be? Okay, what can they do about it? Oftentimes they hire someone to come in and do mold testing. And a lot of times the mold testing will be beneficial to them if they have someone that can interpret the data. You certainly don't want to use something from Home Depot or some home inspector that uses some lab back east somewhere. You want to find true indoor environmental professional, preferably a board certified one like myself, an ACA certified, the American Council of Accredited Certification. And there is what's called viable and non-viable sampling. Most people start off with non-viable, which is an air sample. You can sample the air with an aerosol, which pulls in the air at 15 liters per minute. And that is viable and non-viable. You can't really separate the two because you don't know what's being pulled in. But that'll at least give you a head start, or what we call a limited preliminary indoor environmental investigation. And you can see what type of molds are there. We're looking for indicator molds, molds that relate to water or water damage history. However, if someone really has an allergy or they're allergic to mold of some kind, they should have seen a doctor and had some screenings done to find out what they're allergic to, what kind of mold. And the only way to know what kind of mold you have would be to do viable sampling, where you actually have a medium that would be best used for the particular mold growth that you're trying to find and grow. So for example, Aspergillus penicillium are grouped together because they're both very similar to each other, but you don't know which kind of Aspergillus or what kind of penicillium you have with a non-viable sample. When you do a viable sample, however, you can break it down to the genus. You can speciate it down and know exactly what kind. If that matches what the doctor is telling you have an ailment to, then now you've found the right mold in the home that you need to make sure you get rid of. However, if you're doing basic sampling, you're not breaking it down, you're not speciating it, then you're almost wasting your money because you don't know which mold it is that you have that could be affecting and or not affecting your child. Oftentimes dust is an issue for some. They could be allergic to simple dust. But with dust, which is basically up to 70% dead skin, I know it's kind of gross, but we all breathe air, and our air is what we imagine to be clean air. There's still mold in the air. It's when you have an excessive amount that could be causing a problem, or it triggers people who have allergies and become sensitized to the dust and or mold in their home. That's when you need a true professional to be able to articulate the difference between one mold and another, and also find out what the source of the mold is. The key. Most people don't find the source. Yes, you have mold, you know what kind of mold, but why is there mold? How did the mold get there? Even removing the mold will help, but if you don't remove the source as to where it came from, it's going to return. So those are important things to remember, and keep in mind that there is mold that's surface mold, and there's mold that's more chronic from a water source. Find the source. If it's just surface mold, it could be condensation, high humidity. Those are things you can usually rectify on your own. You keep your relative humidity between 30 and 50 ideally, or 40 to 60. Anything above 60%, you're going to have condensation. That's when you start to have moisture accumulating on cold surfaces, and that's perfect breeding ground for mold to grow, which is, again, the dead skin on the dust. You don't need much to make mold grow. Keep us in mind. Look forward to seeing you again. Remember to subscribe. Hit that like button as well.